Welcome to the Kickstart My Franchise podcast. I'm your host, Tim Michaels. Today's guest is a super smart guy. He has a master's and PhD in engineering from the University of Florida. In 2016, he founded a company called Cabinet IQ, which is now one of the fastest growing franchises in the country. I'm very excited to be joined by Michael Hartel. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be on.
So, what exactly is Cabinet IQ?
Yeah, Cabinet IQ is a high-tech residential cabinet countertop company. So we're based out of Austin, Texas. We work with proud homeowners looking to remodel their kitchens the right way. And, we have a lot of technology and excellent processes to make five-star kitchens happen.
Do you guys have any other products besides cabinets, or is it just focused on cabinets?
About 80% of our business is cabinets. The other 20% comes from countertops. So we're just a cabinet and countertop company.
Got
We
it.
used to do full kitchen remodels. We would do the full remodel, which is cabinets, countertops, appliances, backsplash tile, flooring, paint. And it actually became very difficult to scale a business like that with so many people involved in a project. And we started peeling back the services. So we actually ended up paring it down to just cabinets and countertops. And something magical happened. We actually turned a lot of our competitors who were kitchen remodelers, we turned them into customers. So now a lot of our
Nice.
people that we competed with for business, they know that we're the best in the world at cabinets and use us as their trusted trade partner.
That's awesome. So, how did you come up with the idea to actually start this business to begin with?
Yeah, like every entrepreneur, I think you find a problem and then you go to work solving it. So for me, I actually went to the University of Florida for my master's and PhD, like you said, in engineering. Grad school was a really cool time for me to be able to do creative research, publish papers, travel around the world. Really good time to learn how to learn, basically. And that was all fun until I graduated and they stuck me in front of a computer at the Intel Corporation with a couple of computer monitors and a boss. And every day was the exact same. It just really drove me nuts, the monotony of a corporate job. I'm sure you and several of your listeners can attest to, what that feels like of, checking your watch incessantly until it's time to go home. It's not a good feeling, not fulfilling at all. So I was interested in real estate at the time. So I started flipping houses. That led me into the construction industry where I was remodeling houses for other people, not just my own investments, but actually remodeling homes as a general contractor around that 2016 timeframe. And from there, most of the projects that I had that involved cabinets, they just weren't done correctly. People weren't showing up. They'd bring the wrong stuff. They'd bring the wrong color cabinet. They'd bring 20 feet of cabinets for a 19-foot wall and then tell me that they need to try to fix the mistake. Just very low bar for our industry, in my opinion. And that's when I founded our company, basically just to help our own projects. And, naturally people found out and started calling me up and it turned into a real business. So it's been really fun to solve a problem in the industry and now roll it out across the country.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. When did you guys actually begin franchising?
Yeah, we started franchising in 2021. It was a very slow start. We had everything ready to go, and I did franchise development on my own with my partner for a whole year. We were doing franchise development, and I just have tremendous respect for people in the industry that are helping guide people through obviously a big life changing decision. So for me as a founder, it wasn't my unique ability to, filter out who's interested, qualify people, and walk them through the process. So it was a very slow start. We only got one deal done before we joined with the Franchise Fastlane team. So Franchise Fastlane, obviously a very skilled team that can help guide people through the process and connect them with the right brand. So it feels good to have them bolted onto to our organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how fast are you guys growing now? How many franchisees do you have up and running?
Yeah, we launched with Franchise Fastlane in April of this year, and since then we've been awarding 3 to 5 franchisees a month, which is good, stable growth for our organization. We're staying ahead of the hiring curve and making sure that our franchisees are very supported. So that's how fast we've been growing.
It's fantastic. As far as the competitive landscape, I think you already hit on a lot of points, but are there any other differentiators for Cabinet IQ versus what people will find out there?
Yeah, there's quite a few. In my journey of owning a cabinet company, I realized that all the CRMs on the market, uh, they don't fulfill the requirements of our industry. So we actually had to go out and spend about 12 months developing our own internal software to help guide a cabinet customer through the process from start to finish. So it's essentially almost like a pizza tracker from Domino's. So that's really the biggest complaint in the industry is, where's my contractor? What's happening next? So we've solved all that through automations and a really nice customer relation management software that can help. So that's one thing. Um, I think that our marketing is state of the art. We have some really interesting ways to find prospects. So we do a lot of lead generation for our franchisees, and we just have a world class process for a 5-star experience.
And how many employees do you need to get this off the ground?
Just two. So if it's the franchisee, they would need one additional employee. So basically, two people can run the company. The franchisee is not going to design or sell kitchens. They're going to rely on someone with a lot of kitchen design experience. So that's going to be their one hire. These are professionals. This isn't unskilled labor. These employees, these kitchen designers, are going to make $80,000 to $100,000, maybe and up, depending on their sales. So you're working with a professional in the industry, which is really nice. The
How hard is it? Excuse me. How hard is it to actually find those people?
Yeah, it's a great question. You would think that they're hard to find, but it's actually a very niche and passionate group of people. So there's no school. You don't go to school for kitchen design. You fall into it from an architecture background or an interior design background. And those are the people that we're looking for. Someone with, the 5 to 10 years worth of experience that wants to work with the new high-tech cabinet company in town.
Awesome. So, as far as the actual cabinets are concerned, are these like stock cabinets? Where are they manufactured?
Yeah, we have several different lines. We have what's considered a principal, signature, and masterpiece type of collection. So anything from a stock cabinet to a high-end custom cabinet. We're not manufacturing anything, and we don't have any inventory. So everything is purchased when the consumer pays for it.
Got it. Fantastic. So, do you need like a warehouse or no?
No warehouse. Yeah, the real estate is around 1,800 square feet. It's a design studio and a showroom with some office space and a bathroom. So no warehouse.
And what is the build out cost on one of those studios? And is that something that you have to open up from day one?
Yeah. So in order to, I'll back up and say the path to profitability is separated from the actual showroom build out. So this is something that we learned with our first couple of franchisees, where the real estate was holding them back from making a sale. So when a franchisee launches, they're actually going to treat the business the same way they would a home service business, meaning when you get a lead, you go to someone's house and they'll have all the samples, all the literature, all the tools to make a sale. So that happens in parallel to building out a showroom. And the showroom build out is just going to depend on the area of town and the location. We've seen them running around $150,000 to build out, which I'll say is extremely cheap compared to what it would cost if someone were to do this on their own. I say all that because our cabinet and countertop vendors are subsidizing actually a very large chunk of the showroom build out. So that
Mm,
keeps item 19 or item 7 a lot lower.
fantastic. And where do you typically locate these businesses? Like, is it A1 real estate or like where do you typically locate them?
Yeah, we have a national real estate partner called Resolute RE. So they're our national partner. We start looking for the real estate as soon as the franchisee signs on. And they're typically shown, 3 or 4 locations that fit the criteria that we're looking for. They overlay a lot of maps of data to understand where the consumers live, drive times, competitor analysis, and things like that. So they're able to help right from the get go.
And what does a day in the life of a franchisee actually look like? And how does it vary between sort of somebody who's an owner operator and somebody who is, I'm not sure the term you guys use, executive model?
Yeah, really, we want people in our system who enjoy building relationships. This is not just necessarily a transactional type of business. You really need to care about people's projects. And so we're looking to bring in people that want to build relationships in the community. Um, a day in the life is basically meeting with contractors at their place, meeting interior designers, going out to lunch, maybe golf, and trying to develop business on the business to business side. On the consumer side, it's managing the showroom and helping assist with the sales process, and really being a cheerleader for your one salesperson. And then also when a sale is made, you'll be guiding the team through the installation process, like the scheduling of the subcontractors, for example. So every
Hmm.
day is different. It's exciting. It's not the same thing every day for sure.
Yeah, definitely not the monotony of those corporate jobs that we talked about. um, what kind of training and support would I receive if I were to sign on as a franchisee?
Yeah, I spent a long time researching a lot of other brands and learning what world class training and support looks like. I'm really proud of our team and our process that we have to onboard and train people. So it starts with a 14-week onboarding. We have a project management software that walks them through getting through all the business systems and all the accounts set up to manage the business. We have a 1 week intensive kitchen design training. So we have a kitchen design trainer who will guide franchisees to learn how to design a kitchen. It's most likely going to be the first and last kitchen they ever design. We want them to understand the software and what it takes to design a kitchen. From there, they're qualified to come to Austin for our on site training at our headquarters. So we have a 1 week training from Monday through Friday, and tie up any loose ends. We do sales role playing and other things like that. So very intense week in Austin, very fun, interactive. After that, they're introduced to their franchise business coach, who they meet with monthly to review any quarterly goals, any issues, and just help meet their business goals.
That's great. As far as my clients are concerned, one thing they always ask me about is the item 19 earnings claim. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Yeah, so the one that we published this past year, our corporate store, the first one we opened up did about 3.1 million, and our satellite location, which is operated only by one employee, did around 1.4 million. And the net after taking out royalties, if you consider taking out royalties, should land around 20%.
Wow, that's great. And you said that that second location just has one employee. Can you talk about sort of the setup there, how often you visit?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, before franchising, I wanted to make sure that we can open up in a different market and just see what, opening up a new store looks like. So, what we did is we went out and set up a much smaller showroom. That's more of a satellite showroom that we call it. And it's only staffed by one employee. So, if she were to leave during the day for an appointment, she just puts a sign on the door and says, please call me to set an appointment.
Hmm.
All of our operations staff works out of our main headquarters, our main showroom. So I'm down there, a few times a year. She manages the showroom. She's very self
Wow.
sufficient, and these are the types of people that we would try to find that are, can be autonomous and do good work.
That's great. So it sounds like there's some economies of scale as you open additional locations. Maybe you can use like the operations manager across locations and get the average cost down.
You can, yes. So the next location that's opened up is definitely profitable from the get go. So lots of cross utilization of employees on the operations side, and then they're going to use the same installers and everything too. So that showroom build out cost is a lot lower because it's smaller, the rent's lower, and you can staff it with just one person. So
Mhm.
we're allowing to start. You can get 3 territories and build out one showroom. So we're allowing 3 territories per brick and mortar. And then once the business matures, the franchisee may find a pocket of town that a Cabinet IQ would do well in, and they can go into that location and open up a second satellite location to really scale their business.
Awesome. What are the top reasons, for people that are listening? Like, what are the top 2 or 3 reasons you would say why they should consider becoming a Cabinet IQ franchisee?
Yeah, for me, this is a very fun, creative business. It's not boring. Nothing against any other franchise system. I just really enjoy working with a diverse group of people. Every project's a little bit different. You're dealing with homeowners as well as other trade professionals like general contractors and interior designers and architects. This industry is very professional. It's not based on low income labor and a lot of turnover. So for me, just working alongside other professionals and it kind of gives me the ability to be creative without drawing or painting. We see these projects that just need a lot of help, a lot of rehab, and you take the before and you look at the after photos, and it just makes you feel really good about the impact you're making. So for
Yeah,
me, it's a very
sounds like
fun,
it.
creative business, and it's an exciting and profitable business.
Is there anything else that I didn't ask about that you'd like to touch on?
Yeah, I want to just give a shout out to our team. We have a chief marketing officer that we hired from American Apparel, very high level strategist and branding expert. She's been a huge help to help our franchisees craft their marketing strategy. Our vice president of sales built a $70 million a year cabinet company in Florida,
Wow.
and then retired. And he became a mentor actually for about a year until I asked him to work with our organization. So he's along for the ride and shares the same vision and mission that we have. So it's really cool to work with him. Our COO has a ton of experience in Fortune 200 companies and Six Sigma lean process improvement. So just a straight up ops guy that helps with SOPs and systems and technology. And I'll just mention just the rest of our support staff that we help that help onboard our franchisees. So
Sounds
solid
like a lot of
team.
support.
Everyone's on the same mission, and it feels really good to see the team winning.
That's fantastic. Well, really appreciate you coming on. I think Cabinet IQ is a very exciting brand. Very excited to see where you guys go in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.